chapter number 6. Right? In the last lecture, we discussed about the geomorphic processes. What is geomorphic processes and how it occurs? It occurs due to the two forces, mainly endogenic forces and exogenic forces. And we described that the endogenic processes including diastrophism and volcanism. Under diastrophism, we learned four terms: orogenic processes, androgenic, earthquakes, and plate tectonics. Dinesh, please mute your mic. Hello. Exogenic processes. Exogenic processes, as I told you, that the processes which occurs over the surface of the earth, right, with the help of weathering agents. And we discussed there are 5 weathering agents: river water, underground water, glacier, wind, and ocean currents. Right now, from where these factors derive their energy? Actually, they derive their energy from atmosphere, and the prime source of the energy is the sun, right? So the exogenic forces derive their energy from the sun. So gravitational force, second main important thing is gravitational force. Gravitational force, it creates gradient. Gradient, I told you that the slope is known as gradient, right? So gradient means slope. So when there is any slope, the things will be moved, right? So there is a slope, the things will move, whether it is a material or water. So to continue the exogenic processes, the two things are mainly required. The first is the sun and the second is the gradient, right? Now one more thing, the force applied per unit area is called stress. When these agents applied their force, so whatever the force is applied on a per unit, that is called stress. So when the force is applied over the material, then the stress produced. Correct? So stress can be produced in a solid body by pushing or pulling, right? Because there are forces which will put stress on the material, and due to this stress, the things will pushed or pulled, and that's why they will disintegrate, they will weather, right? So this include deformation. When the material will be pushed or pulled, it means that they will be deformed, they will change their formation, correct? So forces acting along the faces of earth material are shear stresses, which are spreading forces and which separate the material from the original one. Suppose this is a original rock block. Some forces like river water is applying on this rock. What would happen? By the continuous process of river water, this rock's material will got loose, right? So by this process, by the force of water, the material of the rock will get loose, will separate from the original rock, and that is known as shear stresses, right? So shear stresses, due to these shear stresses, there is an angular displacement, because this material will be loose and it will displaced from their original place, right? So there, besides gravitational stress, there is molecular stress, which is caused by temperature change, crystallization, and melting. Due to the change in temperature, due to the recrystallization, due to the melting of the material, the molecules of particular rocks will be changed. It means in this process the physical or mechanical stress is producing. While is there any rock, and if the composition of this rock will be changed due to the temperature, recrystallization or melting, that will call molecular stress. Correct? Now, what would happen? Chemical processes normally lead to loosening of bonds between grains and dissolving of soluble minerals. Minerals. What would happen when there is a chemical process? What would happen? Due to the chemical process, the molecules will be changed in a rock. Then how it can be changed? It can be loosened, it can be solvent, right? It can be dissolved in the soluble materials, or it can be cemented. So this is a type of chemical processing. Okay, the first one which is occur due to the gravitational stress, that is due to the physical processes. So the basic reason for weathering, mass movement, erosion and deposition is the development of stress in earth material, where whether it is a shear stress or whether it is a molecular stress. Due to these stresses, the material got separated from their original part and the weathering occurred. That separation is known as weathering. And after that weathering, the mass movement, erosion, and deposition took place. We will discuss it later on in this chapter, right? So since there are different climatic regions, there is variation in the exogenic processes from region to region. Now, what happened? We did not see mountains everywhere. It is found in particular places. Similarly, some plains are found in particular places. Some rocky structure are found in particular regions, not in everywhere. Why it is that so? Why it is? Why this difference occurs? Due to the climatic variation. Because climatic conditions are not same at everywhere. In each and every region, there experiences different climatic conditions, and due to these differences, the exogenic processes is also varied. In the climatic conditions, if we talked about the climatic conditions, the two main elements are, first is temperature and second is precipitation, which are the two major elements that control various processes. How they will control, we will talk about it in when we go through with the detail of physical weathering and chemical weathering. How the temperature and precipitation are the major controller of the various processes. The next term is included in this chapter is denudation, which is very most important definition. All the exogenic processes are covered under general term denudation. Denudation means cover off. Yani, when we uncovered a thing, that is called a denudation, right? Suppose it is a table and a tablecloth is lying on this. If you took off this cloth, then there will be table appear. So this process is called denudation in geographical terms, right? So what happened? Suppose it is a rock, and the first layer of this rock, this one, will be eroded, will be weathered. So it will uncover the rock. That process will be called denudation. So denudation includes weathering, mass wasting, erosion, and transportation. In short term, I will tell you that weathering is a loosening of material. Mass fasting means when material begin to move under the pressure, under the forces of gravitation, right? That is mass fasting, when this material begin to move slope down, right? And these two things Weathering and mass wasting is combinedly known as erosion, right? When they are moving, that is called transportation. So the upper layer of the rock will be denuded by including these four processes: weathering, mass wasting, erosion, and transportation. Right? Now the denudation process and their driving forces. Now we are talking about the denudation processes and drive their forces. First is, in the table you can see, first is weathering, and for the weathering process, the driving forces, the energy uh, which which make possible weathering process are gravitational, molecular stress, and chemical actions. Right? We recently learned about these three. Second process, denudation process, when the rock weathers, then it began to second process, that is mass movements. The material began to slope down, and mass movement is done due to the gravitational force. The material will slope down. There is a material, it will be sloped down under the gravitational force. Due to the gravitational force, it will roll down from upper to lower area. The third is erosion and transportation. Erosion and transportation is due to the kinetic energy. Kinetic energy of river water, wind, glacier. In the water, in the wind, they have their kinetic energy. More water, more speed produce more kinetic energy, and it to make the river water, winds, or other weathering agents to able to drive these weathering, mass movement, erosion, and transportation. Weathering derive their energy from gravitational, molecular stresses, and chemical actions, while mass movements derive their energy from gravitational force, and erosion and transportation took place due to the kinetic energy of weathering agents. Now, by this chart, you observe that each process there is driving force called energy. On the Earth's surface, thermal gradient. Why their thermal gradient is produced? Thermal gradient means temperature differences. Yes, there is a temperature differences that is known as thermal gradient. Gradient means high to low. Yes, so some regions have high temperatures while some region have low temperature. So high to low temperature is known as thermal gradient, and it is caused by the latitudes. As we go far from the equator, the temperature decreased. So there is a thermal differences between the high latitude and low latitude. Similarly, seasons, so in summer seasons, temperature is high, while in the winter season, the temperature is low. So there is a thermal difference, temperature difference due to the seasons. Similarly, land and water distribution. Land get high temperature uh, more frequently rather than water. So land get heated more than the water. So there is a temperature difference between the land and water, right? So angle of Earth's inclination, the places where the Earth is inclined more, the temperature will be decreased, right? So where the sun's rays where there is a sun rays from directly. So like they will get high temperature, right? So all these four factors cause thermal gradient or the temperature differences, right? So we are discussing the weathering process in short. The third is the density of natural vegetation is gravity influenced by the temperature and precipitation helps indirectly the exogenic processes. It is called biological weathering. Biological weathering, right? So right, so यहाँ क्या किया हमने, we discussed the three types of weathering. Physical weathering due to the molecular stress and shear stress. Second, chemical weathering physical weathering due to the shear stress, chemical weathering due to the molecular stress, and the third one is biological weathering. Natural vegetations including plants, animals, all these also help in the exogenic processes. How we will discuss it in detail, right? So the temperature and precipitation, no doubt the vegetation cover will be more where the temperature and precipitation is adequate, right? Where there is a high rainfall, there will be a dense forest. Appropriate temperature is needed to grow the forest, right? So natural vegetation density is totally influenced by the temperature and precipitation, and vegetation cover indirectly helps the exogenic processes. Beside these factors, some other factors of climatic variations are, we discuss only temperature and rainfall, and other factor of climatic variations are altitude, means height. As we go higher, the temperature will decrease. Angle of slope, west, southern and northern slope. Like in the northern hemisphere, southern slope gets more temperature than the northern slopes. Ocean currents, there are two type of ocean currents and cold ocean currents. Where there is a warm ocean current, the temperature of the land surface will be higher. Where there is a cold ocean currents flowing, the temperature of the adjoining area will get decreased. Amount of insulation received by the region, the how much the insulation a region is getting, means equator, the insulation amount is higher at the equator, so temperature is higher at the equator. As we go through polewards, the temperature, the amount of insulation reduce and the temperature is also decreased. Wind velocity and direction, wind velocity and direction, wind velocity, wind derive their energy from high to low pressure areas. So the high, where there is a difference between the high pressure and low pressure, in the early classes you read that where the temperature is high, the pressure will be low. So there is a reverse relationship between the temperature and pressure. So due to the temperature differences, there is a pressure differences, and due to the pressure differences, the wind move, right? The direction of the slope, as I told you, the direction of the slope, like in the northern hemisphere, the southern slope gets more heat, amount and kind of precipitation. The precipitation is not equal everywhere. Some region of the earth gets more precipitation, more rainfall, right? Like in India, Mawsynram got highest precipitation in the world, right? So some areas get more precipitation rather than the others, so they have thick forest cover. Now the second one is kind of precipitation.
there is different kind of precipitation like rainfall, snow, hail, storm. All these are the form of precipitation. They also influence the weathering process. Relationship between precipitation and evaporation, it occurs mainly in deserted area where there is a precipitation amount is less but evaporation is higher. Daily range of temperature, if there is a difference of day temperature and night temperature is more, then the weathering process will be more. If the daily range of temperature is less, the weathering process is less. How? We will discuss it later on. Freezing and thawing frequency. Freezing means Jamna, right? When the water freezed and with the high temperature, it melts. How frequent this process go on, it also affect the weathering process. Depth of frost penetration, how much the rocks allow to water to enter in them and frosting them. Next, the sole driving force behind all the oxygenic processes is the sun. Remember it always. So when climatic factors are the common, now we discuss different climatic factors, right? But in a region where these conditions are same, in a particular region where all these conditions are same, the weathering process will depend upon the type and structure of rocks. Which type of rocks are found in these region, which type of structure the rocks have, that also affect the weathering process. And due to the different structure, we found formation of physical features in a same region, right? Now, what do you mean by structure? Types you already know: igneous rocks, metamorphic rocks, and sedimentary rocks. And the structure includes faults, orientation, how the rocks orient, inclination of beds, means how the material is inclined in the rock, presence or absence of joints. If there is a joint, then the rocks will disintegrate easily, right? Bedding planes, hardness and softness of constituent minerals. The rocks is composed of hard material or soft material. Chemical susceptibility of mineral constituent, by which mineral is it is composed of, and what is the chemical composition, whether the rocks are permeable or impermeable, right? So these includes the structure, and by these characteristics of the rocks weathered or how much they weathered in a particular region, that depends upon. So different, that's why due to the different structure, different types of rocks, they vary resistance to various geomorphic processes. Suppose there is a region, there is a igneous rocks, it is a igneous rocks, it is a sedimentary rocks. In the igneous rocks, the material is hard, while in the sedimentary rocks, the material is soft, right? So the igneous rocks will erode later, it will take more time, and the sedimentary rocks will erode easily, right? So in a same region, where these two type of rocks are found, the rocks are weathered very variably, right? So some rocks like this rock is igneous rock, right? Now what would happen if the rainfall occurs? If the rainfall occurs, the iron content of igneous rocks will dissolve in the water, right? They will chemical react with the water and got bursted, and this rock will be disintegrated, while this rock is resistant to the water. So what happened, some rocks allow water to go in them, and some are resistant to allow the water to be in. So that's why in a same region, different rocks are affected differently by the geomorphic process at varying rates. Now the next is weathering. Weathering, it is the action of elements of weather on earth material. Weathering is defined as mechanical disintegration and chemical decomposition. The rocks can be weathered by two types: mechanical disintegration and decomposition. Mechanical disintegration means physical weathering. Decomposition of rocks is related to the chemical weathering, right? So actions of various elements of weather and climate decomposed or mechanical disintegrate the rocks. Now factors in, now we go through one by one in detail. First is chemical weathering, second is physical weathering, and third is decomposition. Chemical weathering means reduction as on the rocks to decompose. By these four processes, the rocks can be weathered by dissolve. Correct? So how these chemical reactions took place, right? These are the four processes. Come to the first one, solution. Some minerals are soluble in the water, right? So when the rocks came into the contact of water, the soluble minerals dissolve in the water. Soluble mineral of that rock, suppose this is a rock and it has some soluble content, soluble mineral. Rock. For example, sulfates, nitrates, potassium, all in any residue. No other in the water. When the salt rock is came into the contact of water, the salt will dissolve in the water, and later on the complete rock will be dissolved, decomposed, right? So there will be no residue after the dissolving of salt in the water. Second is carbonation. When the carbon dioxide present in the water reacts with the minerals of the rock, that process is known as carbonation. Here the CO2 from the atmosphere and the water, they react, they make chemical reaction with the rocks and disintegrate them. So that is known as carbonation. Like underground water dissolve limestone. Due to the presence of CO2 in underground water, it dissolve the limestone, and there is a cave in the limestone region. Right? So here is a suppose there is a hydration. Hydration means when the hydrogen of the water dissolves the rock, that is known as hydration. So it uh, some minerals take up water and expand. When they when the mineral took the water, what would happen? They will swell, they will expand, and due to the expansion from their higher from their limit, they will disintegrate, they will decompose. For example, calcium sulfate takes water and convert into gypsum, right? So it is unstable than calcium sulfate. It is reversible reaction, and when the process continues for a long time, the materials disintegrates, right? So firstly, when the calcium sulfate took water, the hydration process took place and it convert into gypsum. But this process, if this process continues for a long time, the material will disintegrate, right? The next is oxidation and reduction. Oxidation, when the oxygen mix in the water, uh, disintegrate the rocks, decompose the rocks. So oxidation occurs where there is sufficient water and atmosphere. The main mineral which are decomposed by the oxidation process are iron, manganese, sulfur. When the iron came into the contact of water, the oxygen mix in water react with the iron content and it got its red color. Later on, if this process continues, what would happen? The iron will got rusted. आपके घर में जो लोहा लगा की चीजें होती है, अगर वो पानी के कांटेक्ट में आएंगे तो क्या हो जाएगा? उसमें जंग लग जाएगा, right? So red color, they got firstly red color and then they bursted. When they bursted, they are decomposed, right? Hold on.